UK private businesses, despite the greatest period of political uncertainty for over a decade, remain confident of their potential for growth, optimistic and still predict strong growth for the next 3 years. In their view, future growth is most likely to come from domestic markets, yet, despite the UK's decision to leave the EU, continental Europe remains a key market. My name is Richard Spofford, and today I'll be covering the following 6 issues that will help you and your business focus on key aspects of growth, what promotes it, what holds it back, and where others see potential. As we enter a momentous new business year, we're here to help you strengthen your business and its potential for the future. Well, the main growth multiplier for companies in the coming year will be technology, but worryingly, the 2 other findings that came out of our report undermine the government's ambition to build a global Britain. In the second column here, 27% of businesses are looking to expand their product offering, but since the strategy of moving into international markets was only the 5th most popular strategy, many people seem to be acting and thinking locally. We'll come back to the concept of international trade later. Whether it's a combination of the UK's patchy record on skills development and vocational training, or our tightening labour markets under Brexit, businesses are concerned about access to skills and labour. It's clear that larger companies with the strongest recruitment programmes were the ones who not only offered a strong training programme of their own, but had thought ahead and committed to building medium-term relationships with local schools and colleges. They didn't perceive access to skills as a constraint. However, the larger a business, the more likely it was to complain about the burden of regulation and compliance on their growth. One final item to add is while many businesses are confident about the way forward until 2021, most are also confident in their management's abilities to rise to the challenge. Only the 10 million plus turnover companies were of a size and scope to start questioning their own management experience and skill set for the way forward. Unsurprisingly, in certain times, using retained profit and organic growth are the UK's preferred method to finance further growth. In industries with heavy investment in plant, machinery or product development, the most common source of growth finance continues to be bank loans and external finance. We found the UK's optimist spirit shone through, and 45% believe Brexit will be a positive effect on their business growth plans. Possibly because it has forced people to assess their business, review sources of work, potential markets and to plan ahead. Given that some companies are confident about their growth prospects, even with the implications of Brexit looming, there are still 1 or 2 worrying signals. 35% of private companies still haven't done any what-if scenario planning as part of their strategic plans, and despite the salutary lessons of Carillion, BHS and others, over 1/3 of the businesses surveyed had still not considered their exposure or response to key supplier or key customer failure. Even with the government's Global Britain mandate, there is a continued heavy focus on trading within the UK. Europe still dominates as the most attractive overseas marketplace, with 46% of respondents believing our European friends represent the nearest and strongest future market. Ominously though, for many of the 500 respondents, the focus for expansion is mainly in the UK market. To help realise the government's global aspirations, there is obviously some work that needs to be done. We believe that if the government is to create a global trading nation for the UK, it needs to invest more time and attention in talking directly with private businesses, encouraging them and supporting them to trade internationally. Of course, responsibility for incentivising international trade doesn't solely rest with the government, but respondents highlighted the following measures that could act as a catalyst for international growth. This is a theme we will return to later in the year when we will look at some of the support mechanisms that advisors and the government can apply to help guide and enable growth companies to trade internationally. Despite much of the gloom-laden press reports we hear, many businesses are still confident of growth in the next 3 years, but there's a real red flag for companies who are not yet factoring in scenario or contingency planning into their business strategy. Yes, you can argue that some of the issues' decisions lie at the government's doorstep, but I'd recommend you look into scenario or contingency planning as soon as possible, and if you'd like some assistance, of course we'd be happy to help. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was just a glimpse into our 27-page report. And if you'd like to download the full report, please visit www.crestonreeves.com going for growth.